So we are starting. Other people will join us maybe later. And my name is Jarosław Działek, and I'm happy to host this event today, this conference about that is called Root and Knowledge, Cultivating Community Gardens on Campus. Just to let you know that this event is organized by a group of wonderful people led by Fanny Téoule. She's a PhD student at the Institute of Geography and Spatial Management here at our university, and Michał Pałasz, who is a researcher at the Institute of Culture, where there is a huge contribution of our students from our university, from the Laboratory of Community Coaction and Humanistic Management, that altogether create a team of the Jagiellonian University Community Garden. But I think it's worth to know, and it would be repeated, I think, several times, that this initiative, this idea is open to everyone to join and to be a gardener, create a community of gardeners here at our university. So both for people from the university, from our campus, but also outside of our campus, from our neighborhood. So today's conference has several parts. First, our invited speakers would share their knowledge, and I hope you would also exchange our knowledge about both some broader issues like our campus and nature in the city, urban nature, and the role of how we can support nature in cities. But then we would go to more, follow with some more detailed presentations about the community garden itself, the idea of university community gardens, and how the students could be involved in such initiatives. And we will also have a voice from another community garden, from practitioners who have more experience than us. It would be followed by a short session of questions if you would like to ask both people who are in the room and online. And then at the end, we would also have an opportunity to visit our future community garden. I should maybe say at the beginning that this meeting, this seminar would be recorded. So just if you don't want to be recorded, I don't know, you need to go out. I don't know, but I think everybody would stay. But just important information. I think this is all. So I think we can start with our first speaker, with Urszula Janiec. She's representing the team of managers of the Jagiellonian University campus. So the floor is yours.
Amazing, thank you. So I'm gonna talk a bit about the team campus manager, or maybe the manager of campus. It's a new creation. We started this year in January. For now, it's only me, and I'm a student of Faculty of Communication, Social Communication and Management, and Marek Grochowicz. He is a PhD student in Institute of Geography and Spatial Management, thank you. And we are trying to do something at the campus. So let me show you what we are doing. First of all, our main goal is to improve or maybe create the inter-faculty, department communication. So instead of working for each faculty, we are working for everybody on the campus, for each student, each worker, each faculty member. We are trying to bring more communication so we can create more impact on our surrounding, on our campus, on our deans also. And also we are trying to improve our communication with the outside of the campus, so with the Dębniki district and the whole community in Krakow. We are basing our actions on directions from the initiative Campus Full of Life. I'm not sure if you have read it. If not, I recommend to find it and read about it, as it was the initiative created by our student employees and other people, and it's amazing document, and we are trying to bring it into life. So we are trying to move in some directions. First of all, we are implementing the recommendations from Campus Full of Life. So we are trying to support our campus administrative team to bring more green to the community, to our community, to bring more energy, more life to the campus. Because for now, I'm not sure if you can agree, but for me, it's a bit dead, and we are trying to make it alive. And also, we are trying to cooperate with different faculties at our campus, so we can improve our life in here. We are also trying to promote and share information about activities on the campus. So first, we created, finally, after 20 years of campus existence, we created our social profiles. So for now, we are gathering information from different faculties to have one place to hold all the events, all the initiatives, to inform all the people from campus and from outside of the campus on what's going on in our place. So if you have anything to share, you want to invite students from other faculties to participate in some actions, ask us or write to us, and we'll try to share the initiative with other people. Also, we are trying to bring more communication and cooperation between the promotional teams, because for now they are more focused on recruitment, and we are trying to bring the discussion between them, how we can promote things that are happening on the campus between other faculties. So we are holding each month a session. So if you have any kind of information or you want to share something with other people, ask them. Go to your department team, promotional team, or go to us, and we'll try to share the information with them. And also, we really want to create a campus student council. So I'm not sure if you know, but we have the campus council, which meets 2 times a year, and there is only one student there. So we want to create a body to support our administration, to support our deans on what are the needs of the students and doctorates and our staff, because sometimes the information can be lost, can be misunderstood. And we really think that the campus, the university, is for students. So students should be more involved in the process of the planning, should be listened to, should be heard. So we want to create a body who will be trying to communicate with our deans or can organize some actions in here. But for now, we are just starting with the idea. If you have any kind of input, if you want to participate in creation of this group, let us know. We are trying to support everybody, and we are trying to involve everybody. So if you have any ideas, come to us and we'll be happy to help you. And yeah, so what's already happening? So for now, we had 3 sessions of workshops to map the needs of the users of the National Science Library, because it's going to be changing. And we want to change this place to reflect coming to the 21st century, to change the functions of the libraries, to move from being a library to the place where we can be alive, where we can spend time, where we can enjoy the place and the space to be active there. Also, we want to change a bit the gastronomy on the campus, because for now it's differentiating. We are trying to have a good quality of food. We want to have different options. And for that, we need to change a little bit how we come to the agreement within the terms and the terms of the tenders offers. So we are trying to hold the conversation with our lawyers. And if you want to have your input on how the gastronomy, the food, the quality of the food should like on the campus, let us know, because it's important. And what else? We are informing our deans and our administration about the current needs of students, PhD candidates, and our staff. What we are hearing, what other people are saying to us. We are trying to highlight the importance of the feedback from the community of the campus to have some kind of change, because it's needed in here. And we are supporting grassroots activities such as community garden. We are promoting the idea, we are promoting the ideas of student-led activities, student and PhD doctorate initiatives. And finally, as I said, we created the campus profiles on Facebook, Instagram, and currently we are working on the campus website, so we can have the information about what's going on the campus nowadays, not when we celebrated the 600 years of the campus, of the university. So I think for now, that's all. So thank you for listening, and be free to contact us and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you.
Thank you, Urszula, for your talk. So probably there will be some questions to you at the end. I just want to make sure that everything is all right and our participants online can hear us and see the presentations. Just to be sure, can you tell us if everything is okay?
Yes, everything is all right.
Thank you. So we continue.
By the way, would it be possible to paste this document, the link to this document, Campus Full of Life? Because I was trying to find it and it wasn't so easy. Maybe on the chat later on.
Yeah, later on maybe we could send, or maybe it's better to Google Campus Pełen Życia, then it would.
Okay. That might be easier. Thank you.
It would be easier to find. Okay, so we continue. Our next speaker is our good friend from the Institute of Zoology and Biomedical Research, Dr. Joanna Kajzer-Bonk. And please, you could show us, and she's very active also on the campus, so we are happy to have you with us.
Thank you, Jarek. Thank you for the invitation. And I would like to briefly show you some arguments to act in Jagiellonian University, but also abroad. Okay, now it's okay. Hopefully. Okay, we have great evidence from scientific world that our world is changing. We observe a lot of changes, and we can see that human population grows exponentially. We lose our natural resources, and we know that we also exceeded global biomass with anthropogenic mass in 2020. So it's a big point in the biodiversity changes. And we know also that we lost biodiversity. Since 1970s, we from every 10 vertebrates we can meet now only 3. So it's a huge difference now. And also we know that the future will be similar or even worse. Here you can see that prognosis of climate in Madrid will be in 50 years similar to Marrakesh now. So the world is really changing. On the other hand, we know that biodiversity and this natural heritage give us a lot of ecosystem services. Every benefits people derive from the presence of nature. Here you can see one of the of such ecosystem services. It's called bioturbation and cycling of organic matter. We have a lot of them. Sometimes we are not aware of it. These are provisioning services, cultural services, regulating, and so on. Unfortunately, we know that we lost also natural resources in our local scale. It's difficult to monitor all ecosystems and all biodiversity, so it's good to use some indicator species. Here you can see two of them. These are blue butterflies, which are flagship species for biodiversity conservation, and they are very characteristic and very specialized. They need obligatory two resources, a specific species of ant and specific plant. And they indicate the whole range of biodiversity, and the presence of them indicates great biodiversity on the specific place. And we had a lot of such meadows in Kraków area. Here, more or less, is the campus. And Kraków was represented by one of the biggest metapopulation of these two species in the world. And we can observe that these populations decrease year to year. We monitor them since 20 years. What is important, we revealed that the status of the protected species cannot stop this destruction, and only protected areas that were under Natura 2000 protected sites could stop the process of destruction of habitats of these species. So, if we observe such sad things, is it possible to mitigate, to halt these changes? Is there any hope to change something? The United Nations call to bring to the nature to restore more than 1 billion hectares of degraded land to make our life better. So it looks like impossible mission, but the hope is in the last statement from this program, I think. That the beauty of ecosystem restoration is that it can happen at any scale, and everyone has a role to play. So that brings me hope. And now I would like to show you what we did in the campus area in last years. These are only two examples. We have no time to show more. The first one is restoration of ponds of amphibians. The campus area typically was represented by wet meadows, marshes, and generally wet environment. And we wanted to restore at least part of them. 5 years ago, we built using excavator 4 ponds. What was funny for me, that the guy who operated with this excavator was grandson of the guy who planted this area and meliorated it. So he made opposite work to this grandfather. In 2 consecutive years, the ponds were occupied by batrachofauna, so a lot of amphibians, newts, toads, and some frogs. And it's important place to rest and to make some educational workshop and actions. And what is important for us is that the feedback from residents and from working people is that this area is really different from the area of the built-up campus with this. So we can manage this area different. And it's important that the microclimatic conditions in these ponds are really different. It's quite cooler and nice place to be, especially during the summer. Of course, it doesn't seems that the batrachofauna has no problems in our campus anymore. Of course, they meet with increasing fragmentation and linear barriers. There is increasing mortality, and we tried to do something to manage it, but no one takes responsibility for that. No one wants to put road signs to stop these cars not to move into meadows. Maybe there is some man with some power in this room who could change this, because we don't know what can we do more with this problem. And the second example is management with lawns. The lawns are specific place because at least we can see them every day. Some of you are owners of your own lawns, so you have impact on them. You have also think about aesthetics of the lawns, but also the lawns may be surrogate of meadows which are now destroyed in Kraków, and maybe some area of biodiversity. So we started project To Mow or Not to Mow last year, and it is result of our desperation and our need to change something, to mitigate some bad things that happen in our environment. And first objective of this project is answer the question how mowing frequency affects biodiversity, microclimatic conditions, and also potential risks, for example, exposure to ticks. And we provide field experiment on study plots. It's 64 paired plots on the campus area, and we're running this experiment in 3 years. We will finish it next year. We have also some preliminary results. It seems that soil temperature is lower when we have extensive mowing, so it's important to mitigate urban heat island. We also want in this project know needs, doubts, some problems of representatives of social and economic environment in our campus. Also, we want to develop recommendations and increase nature awareness due to campaign nature walks, some educational path, and we would like to develop application web application to educate society. We have some participants. We want to engage more. We have also collaborating with administration on campus, of course, and we would like to have impact on all these groups we collaborate. And the last slide is about making change in our environment, and next to the door, this is example from my building. There was completely destroyed lawn, and I wanted to change something. It's important to cultivate our sensitivity to our biodiversity, our environment, to make change. And I wrote some petition, but it's important to use language of the people we want to talk to. So I cannot use arguments about biodiversity and aesthetics or something, and I had to use arguments about dirt issues and so on. So it worked in this case, and the administration built some fence and planted grass, so it looks like here on this picture. So I hope that the small actions may change awareness and may impact some politicians and local and also on the high level. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Joanna, for your very interesting talk and for your educational activity here at the university. I think this is the community garden would be another part of this big change happening at the campus, and I hope that also Joanna would advise us about what to do the best. And just to remind you that community garden would be organized and co-created by you on the green triangle that was planned several years ago to have like both part which is more place for biodiversity and meadows, and other part which is like for social activities where the community garden would be placed. So now the first presentation would be we are reaching the topic of community garden itself, and Fanny Téoule would share her experience about the idea, the concept of the community garden, and some different types and functions of community gardens around the world. So, please.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I think that my presentation is basically the core value of this conference because it is about community gardens and campus. So the presentation before were, for me, much more the context of what I'm going to present to you right now. And it's also followed the idea of change. In both of the presentations before, we saw this idea of we want to make a change at the university in our spaces. So the idea of community gardens is also contributing to this development. Okay, so first of all, I think a lot of people in this room knows about community gardens, but I would like to see which person in the room and also online is aware or know or understands the concept of community gardens. So just raise your hand if you know about it. Okay, so I guess it's almost 100% of the audience. I don't know online. Maybe I can check. Take a moment also to. Okay, so two person online as well. Okay, so I will be quick on this, but I think it's important to come back on the definition of a community garden. First of all, because it's also, when we check at the scientific literature, it's also not really defined in the same way in every paper. So it's really hard to find a universal definition of what are community gardens. That's why I think for you to understand, for you to understand, I needed also to pick what kind of definition I will bring to you, to the audience, and so on. So community gardens are actually at the middle point between different actors in the city, in the urban space, and also between different concepts. So the first one, which is the one on the top, is about planting, it's about green infrastructure, it's about ecology. So in there we see also the overlap of different actors that have the knowledge about planting, about gardening, such as naturalists, such as Joanna that presents it before. And we also have in the left picture the social perspective, which is really common in the concept of community gardens. I mean, it's in the name as well. We talk about community, we talk about people. So of course, we talk about community building, we talk about social links between the people. And for this, of course, we have different actors taking place in this space. So different generations, genders, and so on. And the last picture is more linked to the food scarcity. As you might know, climate change is also really impacting the way agriculture is evolving nowadays. So the idea of self-sufficiency and circular economy is really important and is also one of the core values of community gardens. So when we take these three key factors in account, we can see that community garden is really in the middle point of those three concepts. And taking the fact of the climate crisis, we can see also the development of co-created solutions happening inside community gardens and cities. So yeah, the definition I pick for you today is really about community garden as natural laboratories. So we are really used to use, especially at the universities, laboratories indoors. But actually, community gardens can be space where we really experiment on site, where we really develop a new type of solution, as I explained before, and where we also include the environmental perspective. So we really work with the nature and for the nature. Coming now on the community gardens at campuses, on campuses, because this is the idea of the conference, we can see that we have multiple benefits when we include a community garden on universities, such as Jagiellonian University, and especially campuses. So the first key benefit is the experiments and the research. So it's really a space where we can develop new innovative approaches, really experiment on the ground with the nature all the time. And it's also a place for the community building. So it's also a space where we have a lot of exchange of knowledge between, for example, the students and the teachers, between the inhabitants of the city, of the neighborhood, and the local actors of the university. I think this is well known, but it's good to mention that it's also beneficial for the health and the wellness, so more like the physical and psychological effects about nature that has on people. It's also a space where we collaborate, so really try to develop collaborative and participative initiatives within the community garden. And again, the green infrastructure, so I'm not going to come back on this, and also the climate change education. So really a space where we can give like the opportunity to take some classes about climate change, to have outdoor classes, you know, on this space, and when you work with the space and not just observe in the books. So this is few examples of community gardens that have been developed at universities, because it's not new, actually. We have some community gardens at the University of Georgia, for example, also in Sweden, in Las Vegas, and one that I learned about a few days ago. It's the one of the University of Copernicus in Torun, and actually it's probably the first community garden at campus that has been developed. So I know that Paulina is the one that is the initiator of these initiatives, and she's online right now. So I think it's a great initiative that you managed to do. So Poland represents really the kind of the second community garden on campuses, and the campus is really huge. So it was also hard to find a space where we can implement it, but we found it, and this is actually the green triangle. So we can see it from the window, but just if you are in here. So maybe you can come in the corner after the conference to check on it. Sorry for the people online, but you have a little photo to see how it looks like. So we have to also understand the concept of Krakow, because I mean there is different context for different community gardens, for different cities, for different countries, and so on. So the local context is really, really important to understand how we implement such initiatives at the campus or somewhere else. So the community gardens in Krakow are kind of like the hybrid version of the allotment garden. So the allotment garden have been developed for centuries, actually, and we have to say that Poland was one of the most effective in terms of allotment garden, if we check at the European perspective, of course, but it counts a lot of allotment garden that still exist nowadays. However, the problem is that now those kind of places are rather used by individuals, are really expensive, and they are also out of the cities, not all the time, but they are more located in the peripheral areas of Krakow. So people see also the need to develop community gardens, place where they can develop their urban agriculture. And this is why they start to develop the community gardens after the allotment garden to really overcome the challenges of not using the allotment spaces. So the first community garden has been created in 2015. It is an official date, which means they already did some practice before that, but they really launched it on the 2015. So just to give you an idea also of community gardens emergence of the concept, they have been created in America, in New York, actually, with the Green Area by a woman that is named Liz Christie. And she developed them in the late 80s. And it was really a political initiative at the beginning. So you can see in the late 90s until 2015, there's quite a period of time. Also, if we check in the more the west area of Europe, so more where I come from. So if we check on France, we can see that the first community garden has been developed in 2000s. So it's not late, but it's just that it took more time to develop in the case of Krakow. I'm not talking about other cities because I know that the emergence is earlier, but let's focus on Krakow for now. So one also exercise that I developed during my PhD was the participatory community garden mapping. So I monitored 16 community gardens with the users of community gardens of Krakow. And actually, in a year, there's already 4 community gardens that have been developed. I know that our next speaker is also included in this number because in Nausika Foundation, you develop 1 garden in your courtyard. So you're also monitored in this little map.
I've been in the one that you called the first on Krzemionki. Today,
Okay.
the grass
Great.
is cut, the infrastructure is prepared, and it looks beautiful now.
Yeah, I also been there, but I need to go again to see what they are doing. I think it's really good garden actually.
Is it published?
So also I want to give to you some examples of community gardens in Krakow. So I choose 2 case studies within my PhD research, but also to showcase what kind of emergence we have. So the first one is the Salvator Garden, which also you were the practitioners before, so you can talk about this a bit after. And the second one is the Piechogród Garden, which is located in Piechowice, so it's not so far away from the campus. But this is really interesting because we can see a difference in terms of the emergence. So the Salvator Garden is really developed from the bottom up, so which is developed by the citizens, so the inhabitants themselves. And for the case of Piechogród, it's really the local green management that implemented the community garden, so top-down emergence of the garden. I'm not going to explain more.
On what wood was used.
Yeah, also you can see the infrastructure is really not the same, so the financial support is not the same as well. To finish, I just want to show you that with the community gardens that we try to implement at the campus, we can also find a middle point between the top-down and the bottom-up initiative. So really create a bridge for people to interact, for really bring the inhabitants of the neighborhood, the teacher, the students, the staff to collaborate within one space. So yeah, this is really the idea that we try to do with this community garden. And I think the next also presentation by Isa will give you more insight about it. So yeah, thank you for your attention.
Fanny, I think this will be continued by our next speaker, Izabella. Then she's representing students, and she is from the Laboratory of Community Action and Humanistic Management at the Faculty of Management and Social Communication, and she will give us a talk about students' perspective and their involvement in this idea.
What? We are just in the moment. Yeah, nice.
So to move the slides, do we? Okay, thanks so much, everyone, for being here. So yeah, what I wanted to talk about today is, what we did in terms of, as students, and as you can see, making and maintaining the community garden. So the entire project for us started initially with actually classes as part of our semester this year. We had a series of projects that we thought of, that we, could have undertaken, but the second that we heard that we could make a community garden, we were all like, yeah, well, that's the only thing that we feel should be done. Because, as you've already heard, for a lot of reasons, community gardens are incredibly important. And yeah, so I guess I'm just going to walk you through. So we started off with having some workshops of our own with Fanny and Ula, who came and, discussed with us how to, what community gardens are all about and how to, I guess I could say that one of the first times that we really got out and about and started making things and, felt like we were making things happen would be when we made this fence. So these lovely people came with willow barks, and we all got to get out into the community garden and make a fence. And, it was one of those initiatives that really made it feel like it was our own. And it's quite interesting how kind of simple things like that, I think maybe when you think about making a community garden, it seems like, oh, it's such a huge initiative, there's so many things to think about. And yes, it is in some ways, it very much helps to have as many people who are, on the ball with organizing things as well. But it also is just a step-by-step process where little things like, spending a couple of hours and making a fence could be one of those first steps. Okay, sorry. But yeah, so as you can see, here's us working hard, doing our best. Oh, and here's another picture of the fence close up, so you can see that beautiful weaving work right there. Yeah, so what can I say? It's just, it's really all about the fact that, oh, beautiful, it's working now. Great, thank you. Yeah, and we continue to do other things. We started working on our social media because, as you know, in this modern day and age, nothing can really happen without social media. That's why you can see this beautiful icon in the corner there. But we also did some workshops. And one of the wonderful things about the workshops is that we could really, that was one of the first moments that we could see that the community was actually there, was actually getting involved. And I think that's also great where, people just came from, from just people who live around here who heard about our initiative, were interested. And, I remember a couple of people saying that this is really a way for them to feel like they're getting involved in something and getting outside and doing something useful and productive. And this is maybe a video, but it's also not going to work. So, you can just imagine. But yeah, this is also us as part of these workshops. And just to summarize the workshops as well, one of the elements that I think was really interesting and really useful in the workshops were these little maps that we made. And the maps, they became very useful and sort of very relevant as well. You can see here on the left, we've got the blank map of our community garden. And here we've got some examples of what people did with these maps. So, people came, they gave us their ideas, they used these lovely stickers, And, these are all ideas that aren't just for show. They're going to be actually implemented. And a lot of them were actually really useful, like how to store tools and things so that, and how to plant things so that dogs don't, eat something that isn't good for them, etc. Like very productive and practical ideas. So yeah, it's great. And it's great that it's an initiative that's really going to serve everybody, really. Another thing that we did was also extend this idea. So like I said, the maps are going to continue to be relevant. So here, we set up with the campus, we had some, we set up an idea box and people could come and share their ideas as well. And then this was all kind of used as part of a little exhibition as well. So we, pinned them up and then you could come see everybody's idea as well. So yeah, not only are the students benefiting from this, so, they can share their ideas, but also just, local people who live here as well. And yeah, so if I had to summarize, I think we've learned a lot of things over our time here working on the community garden. Not only what a community garden is really in practice and why it's important, but also what it can do for others. And not only that, but what we can kind of do to actually contribute. It's one of the things that I've actually, Fanny just mentioned as well. It's not like the laboratories just have to be inside and happening in these closed spaces. It's something where we can actually really go outside and, make a difference. Yeah, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Izabella, for presenting concisely this process where you were involved. And now our final speech will be from someone who is actually a practitioner of a community garden and who could share his experience. So I invite Zbyszek Janukowycz from Nausika Foundation and Salvator Community Garden to share his experience with us. Thank you for
So thank you so much for the invitation. I come from the NGO and activities and rather bottom-up sector. My name is Zbyszek Janukowycz, and I wanted to talk about the functions, different functions of community garden, which I called a sandbox for adults. Why a sandbox for adults? I will come with at the very end. And I represent Nausika Foundation. We are an NGO for climate education and innovative game design based in Krakow. Also, we've been involved in 2 community garden projects. I've been personally in the Salvator Community Garden for around 3 years. And later, I'm a part of the Flower Project European Strategic Partnership, which I will tell you about. But to conclude, some of my content is repeating what Fanny said, so I will either make it different or just jump over it. In responding to the question, what is a community garden? Instead of definition, I draw such a graph, because for me, it's a kind of always a deal between a community and the owner. There is most of the cases, there is a kind of a formal owner, when there is the municipality or a private person, or an institution, or in this case, it's the university, which makes it very interesting, and the citizens, which can be more or less formalized. And it doesn't mean that more formalized is better, actually. And but I wanted to talk about different aims and benefits that come there, because it's about, food sustainability, social integration, urban revitalization being the aims, and the benefits. And as I see it, cultivating plants is only one of the very many various functions that we can actually do in a garden. I don't have a word-to-word definition. So first point to start with, I think that the most common belief or imagination, what they do in a community garden, they are planting some vegetables or fruit and they are producing some food. And it actually sometimes happens in community garden. There is a box of strawberries or some other berries, or like 10 kilos of apples. Small, very small quantity of food produced compared to how much work is done, but the more satisfying it is, and perhaps it can be with like raised experience in the gardening, it can be increased. And I believe in a larger scale, urban food production is a need, is a necessary response to all those climate and economic problems that you have already tackled. We need to produce more food in the cities to be more sustainable in case a more serious crisis comes. It can be in form of grassroots community gardens or something else. Now there is in Krakow the I don't know if you have heard about Jadalny Kraków. So some of you have, like there is a unified program run by the Green Municipality in Krakow to connect and network all the different entities who are producing edible plants and trying to produce food in the city. And those can be community gardens, can be NGOs. We have a little backyard garden, can be companies which are planting on their wall, because vertically we can plant so much food in the cities. Using going back to our garden experience, using the little experience that we had, we were trying to produce some food, and we were very happy to see any kind of colorful thing in our hands. But for me personally, this is not like the main point. That's not what I've been there for. Second part, sustainable development. That's why I got engaged in the community gardens. I wanted to reduce the waste that we have in the city and recycle the materials and do our add some value, add some energy to make the city more sustainable. It frustrates us to see how much resources are wasted, how much water and wood is wasted in the city. I see community gardens as the places that can reuse and upcycle those materials, putting them to positive and giving positive examples for the others, because old planks of wood, as well as many things that would be trashed other way, can be actually a lot of good quality and good looking infrastructure can be done in community gardens. And in more general point of view, revitalization of urban spaces. That's one of the way how we can revitalize and upgrade the urban spaces which are not taken care of by the municipality. So, but this is kind of obvious, I think, sustainable development, revitalization. I wanted to, but one step up. I think the function of the community gardens, and this is my personal experience, was mostly about this physical and mental health. We sign up to do the community gardens because we want to dig in the earth, we want to do the gardening, we want to carry wooden logs, and we wanted to do some physical labor after the long hours in the office when we were forced to by the system to work at the computers. By some unlucky turn of events, I turned out to be the accountant of the Salvator Garden, not the garden, and that's why I left after 3 years. But ideally, we provided a space in which a lot of people could actually take a shovel and dig a big hole in the earth and do some irrigation system or plant a new tree. And I think this is very valuable for our health, because we don't have it. People pay so much to go to the gyms, indoor gyms in the cities, which had to be heated and are using electricity for those running devices, when we could have so many community gardens in the city. And coming back to sustainability, how we actually attracted visitors, because when in Salvator Garden we hosted open events, sometimes we face a situation that 50 people are coming. And hey, we don't know how to handle the work of 50 people. Each of them wants to get a task and do something. We are not prepared. But why they came anyway is that we said that you will not spend anything. Like it's a Saturday or Sunday or one day sunny afternoon. And the city is full of places to just spend your money on, like ice cream, recreation, things to watch. And we said there is nothing to buy. The Salvatore is so far away from the closest shop that you come with us, you spend 4 hours and you save so much money that you have otherwise spent for unnecessary stuff in the city center. So this comes both for sustainable development, we save our money and resources, and mental health. And there is a photo, all these photos are from our projects and the garden. Those people are actually not praying. I guess they are doing yoga. We had a lot of yoga workshops. We hosted it, or just people ask if they can do it, and we always said yes. There is no entry, there is no wall. So a lot of like mindfulness, like personal regenerations activities were there. We had this like luck and good luck and bad luck in once, that the Salvatore is very much detached from the roads and cars. You do not see a civilization. It's very wild. It's hard to get there. You have to put some effort to get there, but then you can actually feel that you are far away from the city, while it's actually 10 minutes by bike. It's close to Kościuszki Mount. Education, but after a personal level, the physical and mental health of me and my friends, I wanted the garden to be some kind of a social function of educating people. And while there are a lot of school community gardens now established by the Green Municipality of Krakow, they are doing so good job that the kids can actually touch some vegetables in their school and learn the most valuable lesson, that when they do not water the plants die during the summer. It's better to learn it firsthand. But we also wanted to have school trips and school excursions going to our garden, touching those stuff and asking why they do those willow fences. Just we had like very similar that you are doing in the campus garden. Why they are doing this, like collecting rainwater? Why this, why that? Like touching things, smelling things and asking questions. That's like also a good way to learn. We wanted to have, and I think there were a couple of school trips, could have been more, to the community garden. But is the education only for children and only for kids? I don't think so. I think it's for adults as well. I think in your definition, Fanny, it was already like a natural experimental place. So my intuition is very similar. Community garden is a playground for adults where they can practice and experiment with their own social competences, like collaboration, division of tasks, creating trust between themselves, negotiation, doing compromise, because the other gardeners would always have different vision of the garden than you have, and it is always a tragedy and a conflict from the very start of the design between you touch the gardening tools. Leadership, empathy, responsibility, who actually wants to make a compromise but still carry on all of this, how to manage a group for a couple of years, because for a garden to grow, you will see the effects after a few years. We all faced it, and all of us felt incompetent and silly, because that's not easy. And all of us were adults after schools, and it was not part of any legal or formal training system. We thought it's like afternoon activity. But then we found that we lack competences to actually talk and establish the plan and collaborate on a longer scale. And should we build a fence? Should we not build a fence? Where does the water go? And we were like little kids playing in a garden, but actually dealing with the real urban space that the other people are using. That's why this intuition of the playground for adults came to me. And I think community gardens are great places for this. And I think our society needs competences and soft skills to actually survive the climate change. It's not only science, it's also collaboration between the people. And here we go to the last point of the function, social laboratory. So, for one, we had a mixture of people from Polish people and migrant people and foreign people and people bringing actually different stories and perspectives on how to do gardens. It was by average more multicultural. This was the community coming to Salvator Garden than an average like random group of people that you would catch on a street in Krakow. And you can actually grow this multicultural like respect for different perspectives along with carrying plant seeds and techniques from different countries and trying this on in our place. I saw people with very high ranking on like working as bosses in corporations, doing the groundwork with students or people are unemployed people in the garden. I think this is an experimental era that we can work behind the social hierarchy and structure, because we just came there on an afternoon anyway. In a community garden, nobody was paid anything. So we could, we were all on the same equal level. It's a chance to reopen trust between the people, the citizens of a city, and the decision makers of the city. I have a feeling that in Poland, this trust level is at the start very low. We had a lot of historical events that actually sabotaged the trust. I think this is an experiment, social laboratory to rebuild the trust and to learn how to cooperate with the city. And the trust is something real, because when you ask for water because your plants are dying because you cannot water them, then it's a real difference if the water arrives in 1 day, 1 week, or 1 month. But you can I think both sides have a lot to learn from each other. And finally, a third option. I see the community gardens as a third option between the public and the private. We have this tendency to think in the terms that something is either private, and if it's mine, that I take care of it, and none of my good friends would steal or destroy it because they would respect my private property. But when something is public, you can take it, you can steal it, you can use it irresponsibly because no one pays for it. I think there is still in back of our minds, there is this kind of intuition, at least in Poland or Central European countries. And we suffered from this a lot while doing our community garden because we could not agree. Is the garden public space or is it private space? Is it public because it belongs formally to the municipality and just let for us to use? Or is it a private space because it's us putting so much energy and sweating on the fields to actually arrange some plants and structures? And although we thought this is a private thing that should be respected, while we kept it open and without the walls and faces, actually there was a lot of overusing and trashing by the other people because they saw there is no wall. So it's like a park. If something is standing, we can take it or we can spray on it. What is the problem? So I think this communication with the neighbors, arranging creating on a map of our city a spot which is neither private nor public, but a third way of organizing it and for taking responsibility of it, is something that definitely needs to be workshopped, needs to be set a process through a social laboratory and be trained by adult people who are making decisions about our countries. Perhaps when we learn it in the community gardens, we would be more responsible on a larger scale as well. Am I running out of time? If yes, then I would speed up. Questions are later, right? Okay. So that's about the functions of the community gardens. I gathered them in those points based on my 3 years of experience. And now I can tell you about the second project. When I'm putting this together with some instructions how to set up a community garden and how to preserve it once you have set it up in a like project booklet of the Flower Power Erasmus Plus Strategic Partnership that Nausika is part of, which should be published by the end of June this year. So if somebody arranges it, I can email you the digital booklet to all of you. And I'm always very happy to talk about those things. And since it's on the way and I have collected it from the project, can I, because I'm also, my work is also supported by the EU, and as I'm promoting project, I should document it. Is it okay if I pass a participant list among you? I would pass it then, if you can. If you could, those two. This is the second, either one or second. Thank you. This will
Sign twice.
not each person signs once. All the lists, it's just two papers of the same list. I am collecting it as a project partner. I would like to give also something back. So whenever there is some social action about community garden, urban gardens, activities, meetup, we have a set up space in Świętego Krzyża Street as Nausika Foundation with our little workshop room and a very, very small garden. And it's open for all the kind of grassroots initiatives about community or urban gardens, about edible plants in the city. So whenever each of you would like to use a space for meetups for free, like no paying for anything in the city center of Krakow, you are very welcome to contact as Nausika Foundation. And I'm just opening the doors for all kind of these initiatives. Already we are hosting networking events of the urban gardeners groups who are exchanging seeds and actually some private experience between legal and illegal community gardens in Krakow, because the second types like the partisan or guerrilla gardens also exist, because sometimes for some people it's a better way just not to report it to anybody, and I actually have a lot of sympathy for those. Also, can I, is the internet working? Can I click on anything? The last thing, with our Slovenian wonderful partners called the Mauer Flower Organization, we are building an online map of different urban and community gardens. They started in Slovakia, which they have hundreds of entries. And now they, within the new project, they open it for Poland, and we have a few entries. And another, we are created a map of those, and it's really working well in Slovakia. They want to make it to put it in different countries. It was a starter this year. It would be growing next year. So just to finish up my presentation, if any of you would be interested to work together, like for any kind of projects of reasons, to continue mapping the Polish community gardens and initiatives, I'm very happy to put you forward and meet again, because we are involved in this project and that's what we want to do. But we would also like not to be alone in the process. Okay, I'm sorry for taking more time that I was given. That's it. Yes, thank you. This is mine. This is not mine. No.
Okay, this is my thing. Okay, so thank you very much, Zbyszek. Sorry for mispronunciation of your name, but it was very, very interesting talk from someone who has much more experience than us. So it would be very useful to have you with us during this process also later. So now it's time to ask some questions, both from people who are in the room and people who are online. So are there any questions to our guests? Actually, no, some of them have left, but to Izabella, to Fanny, and to Zbyszek,
maybe we can sit in here.
Yes,
It
so
will
the
be easier.
speakers could come to us. So Izabella, you could join the first row. Dula and Joanna had maybe. So, are there any questions to our three last speakers? Fanny.
And I think online you can also ask some questions. So we can do one online, one on site, maybe like this.
Yeah, but we will just observe. If you want to raise your hand, or just start to speak. Any questions? Don't be shy. It's time to. Okay, there's a question from Carolina. Nice to meet you. Could you introduce yourself and ask the question?
Hi, I don't have a question. It's actually a friendly message. I am a gardener at Community Garden Macierzanki. So we are basically neighbors. And I wanted to say that I'm utterly happy that you guys are starting a community garden at the university. And I just wanted to say that you have our full support if you will ever need any help, brainstorming, sharing ideas. You're always very welcome in Macierzanki Community Garden. It's not far away from you, so you're always welcome. I'm absolutely sorry that I cannot join you today in person, but I'm stuck at work. I'm saying hi from Institute of Geological Sciences to the Faculty of Geology. Yeah, guys, if you'll ever need any help with gardening, if you'll ever need to borrow some tools, for example, you're very welcome in Macierzanki. I'm so happy that you're starting garden at the university. Thanks.
Thank you very much for this kind words. Actually, the first time that we have met with Fanny and we have discussed the idea of the community garden of our PhD thesis, we went to visit Macierzanki Community Garden, and I think it was a very good starting point. So next question, I don't see very well the names. I will move over here, Paulina Działek, so we can hear you, so ask your question, please. Your mic is off.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I also would like to thank you very much for the presentation. I was already in contact with Fanny. I'm very happy there is another university garden in Poland, and I really hope we are gonna share experience in the future somehow and somehow inspire other universities in Poland to start gardens. And I must admit that our garden in Toruń, it's the second season that we already that we started, and I'm very curious about the workshop that you mentioned, that you organize from promotion department, as far as I understood, because I see that communication part is a very important part, especially in such because previously I ran a garden for 6-7 years that was by House of Culture, and it's a smaller community, it's easier to communicate, and university is a huge tank, it's like Titanic. So I'm very curious about the workshop you organize from promotion, because it can be something inspiring for us as well to get back to improve our communication.
Izabella, I think there's a question to you.
Yeah, so thank you so much for your question. Essentially, the way that we organized our workshop was, well, we worked quite sort of intensely on social media promotion and trying to reach as many students and as many people, local people online. And after that, we essentially just, the way that the workshop was set up was that we talked a little bit about how the community garden came about, why it's important for us to have the community garden in the first place, sort of similar things that you've heard here today as well. And then afterwards, we had that main activity that I described where, we printed out the map of the community garden and different stickers, and we divided the team or the people into groups and asked them to, use their creativity, use their imagination, and essentially, stick on and any kind of ideas that they might have. And then afterwards, we asked a representative from each one of the teams to present to us their ideas. And the reason that we did that, it might sound a little bit whimsical, is because we wanted to really place a focus on the community giving us ideas. And so that was one of the ways that we thought we could do that in order to, sort of get the ideas from the community. Others that we sort of considered during the workshop, but also in general, would be, collecting ideas from like things like polls online, maybe, and also like just conversations during the workshop as well. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, but I misunderstood because I also thought that you additionally organized a workshop from Department of Communication or Department of Promotion at the university camp. Have I misunderstood or?
I think the one that you are that you have organized, like the meeting at the exhibition in the hall of the faculty. That I think.
See. Sorry, sorry about that. Yes, and the one that we had in the hall of the faculty, we essentially just, spoke with the faculty and spoke with the university and made sure that it was okay for us to set up a table. And we just had people come up to us, similarly to any time that you have like a stall at the university, and we had them, come up, give us our ideas, their ideas, and then kind of like a similar way to the workshop. And then we pinned them up as part of like this little exhibition. So it's essentially the same thing, but just happening on campus.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I think I could also add that in terms of communication, we have a group of several initiatives at the campus, both like bottom up, but also like official profiles of our greenery management and of our faculties. So now we have like a critical mass. So whenever anything is happening, we try to share it, even though Facebook is cutting us from getting more people involved. But I think it's still a big work to do, how to reach all people at the campus, because it's quite large. There are quite a lot of people, so we need to use, I think, different means of communication. So maybe now we turn back to the room, and you have any questions? So Joanna, before she has left, she wanted me to ask you, Zbyszek, about what was before you started the community garden in Salvatore. What was in this area? Was it like abandoned area, or was it like? Could you start how? Because I saw the pictures, it still looks like very natural area.
10 years before the garden started, some neighbors got into conflict over the ownership. In the result, nobody could use it for agriculture. Before they had potatoes and onions. Now it got wild and the trees started growing. It was unused for 10 or 15 years. And then a group of people from Krakow just asked, came there while walking. They had the idea of doing some community gardens. They found the place and asked the Green Municipality Department whether this one plot of land, which is clearly unused, whether it is free. And after a process of 2 years of some negotiation, the contract was signed and they are allowed to use it, and it's still valid now.
So, another questions? Maybe, yeah.
The three of us, actually the two of us, are from Academy of Fine Arts Krakow Fellow. The reason why we're here is that we are from Graphic Arts Department, and our school purchased an old building, an old school at Strakowny Street, which is now part of our department, which had a backyard, courtyard kind of, which was mindlessly paved and covered in concrete and looks horrible now as a completely dead, unused, unfriendly, unhuman space. And there's an initiative actually coming from the students, and there's one of the author of the idea to change it and to turn it into the kind of garden. Our authorities, I mean the director, are not quite aware about our plans, but we have support of the dean and local community. And my question is, can we count on your help? I mean, we start from the beginning. We never did it before. We need an advice and help and support and your knowledge and strategies. Academy of Fine Arts is younger sister of Jagiellonian University because we were in the very beginning part of the Jagiellonian University. So having this connection and sharing this city tradition, can we count on your help of the strategy and the logistics, whatever?
Working on the height, I will answer to that. So yes, for sure. I think we did mention the collaboration within community gardens, but not really around community gardens and between community gardens themselves. So yes, sharing the knowledge, strategies that we used, for sure. After, it's not because our development was kind of successful for now that it's going to be the same for you, but it's about experimenting and testing out. So you could also use the tools that we developed. And I have to say that with the students, we managed to do a lot of activities for the implementation of the garden. So we have a lot of ideas as well on how to really develop activities before the development of a garden, because it's also about bringing the community together. You are not like throwing a project on the land and hoping that people will come. So the preview, the pre-development is really important as well. But yes, let's share our ideas afterwards.
Yeah, that we're happy that have joined us, because also, if I can ask from the point of view of the campus in general, that we need more arts on our campus, and so if you can help us with this of natural education,
Yes.
would be great. So if you could make it outdoor also, so that would be perfect. So I'm very happy that this cooperation could start. So maybe you could also, do you want to add something for this cooperation as students?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, absolutely. I mean, our initiative, this group of students that's working on it right now is kind of like the, let's say, first generation, but we're absolutely going to be passing it on to the hands of other students and the rest of the community.
It's kind of a great group of students.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, if we can exchange some contact details and try and keep in touch. Thank you.
I can also add, because myself is just one brain, two hands. So if you host an event on brainstorming, welcoming to the garden, I would gladly come. But there can be more people with experience to share. There is a Facebook fan page, Krakowskie Ogrody Społeczne. And I think if there is an event like that Thursday at 5, we meet for share experience about planning the garden. People from those 20 community gardens mapped by Fanny, and few other people can just come and talk and share what they have learned. So I would, it's a lot of people are there to reach.
Sorry. Paulina left, but what we are also trying to do is to develop a kind of a network about community gardens on campuses, because it's kind of missing. And I know that other universities in the world already do this kind of thing. And I think that Barbara is online. First, I'm not sure. Or maybe she left. No.
She's not.
Yeah, she left. But she is also interested about developing a community garden at her campus. So we can see that a lot of people are actually interested about this and collaborating between also NGOs like you, not only, inside universities is really important.
Another opportunity for networking would be this Saturday, I guess. There is Jadalny Kraków Fest on Wesoła in Apteka Design. They are also struggling to open a community garden in the Wesoła's place. It's also full of conflicts of ideas in there, but there's a lot of activists and also the Green Municipality Department people, perhaps privately. So it might be a good opportunity to talk about them, even if it's not a formal operation that they have to accept. I believe there is a lot of agents in Krakow to network with and to collaborate. I wish there would be a network, then we can just, send it as a message and then people come and help and respond. So let's hope it will happen.
Thank you for answers. Are there any more questions? Maybe you have. Actually, Paulina has left, so you cannot ask her, but
I can ask. I think we talk a lot about benefits of community gardens, especially on campuses, but I think it's good also to talk about the challenges. So, I don't know, maybe you could start with the challenges on how to develop a community garden. Maybe conflict of ideas is what you mentioned, but there's probably other things to consider.
It's water. You need water. A lot of gardens, as I see, they start with we plant trees. We plant fruit trees. We make things grow. We make spirals and nice looking stuff. But you need solid infrastructure behind it to sustain it. And availability of water is the main factor. Later, it is about the communication and some long-term establishing a decision-making process and some clarification about who is responsible for what, and learning how to manage a lot of people who can help, because with a university campus you have huge resource pool of people who would like to come and said, I like to help. But the attention span is about 2 minutes. They wait for 2 minutes until they get a task. If not, they go away. So it's like preparing and managing. We actually had to have a reception during the open events. But I would go back to what, are we going for a walk? Yeah. Because I wanted to ask you what is the availability of the water. I already spotted it, that it's like critical point about the garden here.
We will walk. We will later walk to the place, the community garden. So, one more question.
Yeah, it's just for maybe I'm asking you actually, because at the beginning when we were trying to implement the community garden,
well, you have to negotiate, and I think it's like in every case in this. Okay, you can do things illegally sometimes, but in many places you have to talk with people who are responsible. So at the university, I think in the municipality, it's also the same question that. We don't know many things about plans that are happening in the city or at the campus. So we have tested many places before we find out the solution. So we need to make some compromise, because maybe at the beginning we wanted to have a larger scale, but there's a lot of issues where would it be destroyed by maybe wild animals if we put it at the back of the campus? Would it be feasible? I think also like there's some plans for investment in the future. On the other hand, we didn't want to destroy, as we are, all these challenges with natural areas in the neighborhood, that we didn't want to destroy existing natural site. So we find this solution that we have this green triangle space, which was planned a few years ago, and we didn't plan to have a community garden over there, but it looked as a space that is a bit flexible. So, and Kasia Kulik, who is responsible for the greenery at the campus, said, yes, we would. At some point, we were thinking that we could do the same as you are planning at the Academy of Fine Arts, because we have also quite a large area of paved surfaces, but it's really difficult to move the concrete if it's put, not because it's difficult as a physical task, but those who put this concrete a few years ago, so they don't want to agree to make it green area now. So I don't know if I have answered your question, but it's challenging. But I think it's at university you need to speak with people that are in power and convince them that you really want to do something good. So and you cannot push them because they can be like it's really you need to have good communication skills. But actually here we are lucky because like also the generations of people who are managing campus at the university is changing, so they're also willing to help us. So now it's not like nowadays. It's not like 5 years ago, I think, when we were having some ideas, we were told that it cannot be done. Now it's like, okay, it's difficult, but let's try to do this. And I think that's a huge change. Okay. I started to talk a lot. So maybe I think we are finishing.
Yes, one question.
One more question.
Final question.
Yeah. So you were speaking about people in power. I just started wondering how much decision you can do in your garden. If, for example, if you want to plant as big as possible fruit trees in the green triangle, can you just buy them and do that, or do you need to ask for permission?
I think in this case, we don't have to ask for permission because there are already some fruit trees over there that was planted by our wonderful Kasia Kulik, who is managing. So I think she's open. I think it's like always the question of like bigger investment, like making some infrastructure. Actually, here it was easier than do it in the other part of the campus because then we would have to ask the top management of the university, and here, in this case, we only needed to ask this campus management, so it was easier. But I think it's like, it's like we have always like we'll never know that for sure, but I think it's not like I say Kasia Kulik because we are really know each other well now after a few years. And we cooperate actually, and she had a lot of initiatives that she's organizing, and we are helping her, and we're organizing things, and she's helping us. So there is a trust already, kind of trust, but also this trust is built that on this base that if we are not sure, we are asking. We are not doing.
I just see you will develop important management skills while doing this gardening, and this is for good.
But well, I think we could ask better in the future.
Yes,
because there are also like a lot of maybe not challenges, but when we're speaking with our dean, who is very helpful and always open, he was like hesitating because maybe someone will put some poisonous thing in the community garden and something bad will happen. So they're always thinking about this worst case scenario when we are convincing that it's like possibility of something bad is really, 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 really small. So, but I think that's the role to think about
If you do it and if you hold it for 5 years, it would be so much easier for others to follow you. I think that's the goal, and that's wonderful.
But like when we were talking with some people from other universities, like it was in Belgium, so they told us that they didn't get agreement from the management of the university, so they came over the weekend and they have created the community garden during the weekend illegally at the campus, and now university is using this idea in the promotional materials. So you never sometimes it works. Okay, I think it's high time to finish because it's still a nice weather, so we could go and visit the space. But before we finish, I have some announcements, and I think it's important to thank all the people that were involved. So our students and Fanny and we who are organizing this meeting. I would like to thank everybody who has joined us here in the room and online, but also I would like to thank, he doesn't hear us, but I would like to thank the director of the Institute of Geological Science that have allowed us to join, to use this room for our conference. I would like to thank Kajzer-Bonk. She is the coordinator of the greenery management at the campus, and all of our team who is helping us with preparing garden beds and preparing composters. For the campus managers, the team of the Campus Living Lab who helped us also with creating composters for our community garden, the whole community garden team, and all the speakers that were so kind to come to us and share their knowledge with us. And of course, the one very big announcement is that this Sunday at 12, Sunday, May 19, at 12 o'clock, we will open the community garden. So first meeting and opening the playground. Do you want to add something about the Sunday event?
No, it's just to say that on Sunday there's the big opening, as we call it, and there will be different activities, which is also an introduction of how the community garden can be used. So we will have some concerts, we will have some artistic activities, some planting sessions, and a little picnic. So you are welcome to come with your family. If you want to hang out just in the grass, you're also welcome. So yeah, and to finish, also thank you to Jarek for the monitoring of all the presentation and the conference. It was nice.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And yeah, thanks also to the audience that came today. I hope you found everything interesting.